Today we will be learning about design thinking methodologies. So in the last 2 decades, design thinking has come up as a promising and effective way to teach especially for innovation. A good technique it is, and in various domains it has wide applications. In this, several new design thinking models has come up. Some of them, and the majority of them, or most important them, we are going to discuss in this. The toolkits has been developed and design thinking models has been developed. These are to communicate its ideology to the wider audience. While this model may differ depending on the names and number and stages approach on relationship, but almost all the models actually follow a very similar pattern. To a large extent, design thinking methodology or design thinking steps are coinciding or very similar to the design process, especially the conceptual design process. So this consists of problem finding. First is problem finding, and then defining, designing, prototype creation, gathering feedback, and designing the final product. So the main goal is to accelerate, visualize, improve creative ideas which are beyond design expertise and include multidisciplinary teams. So initially, all the existing design thinking models were known as the process models, a sequence which is similarly processed, assembled into a model, and which could be seen as an appropriate assumption what the overall thinking process or the design thinking process should look like. The intentions of the models are to transform the traditional way of working in organization and to create an environment where creativity and innovation is a part of the organization, and to culture this creativity and innovation, design thinking process or design thinking methodologies are very useful. The incorporation of this design thinking approach could be done through practice, and these are the models. They are helpful to the customers. So the first model which we are going to know about today is the Stanford design school model. This is also this 5-step design thinking model. This already we have explained or understood in another lecture. Ideally, this is one of the very good model and most popular model among all the design thinking models which are there. So in this model, the first step is emphasize, second step is define, third one is ideate, fourth one is prototype, and last one is, or fifth one is the testing. So in the first one, there is empathize. Empathize is basically key quality in the design thinking approach, and in order to come up with the best possible solution. So in this case, we basically observe, we empathize the feeling of the user. Why people take this action, give a better understanding of the physical emotional need, because this need of these people are different. Same product which is being developed and designed for different set of people, younger people or older people, our needs are different. So often they are not able to tell, okay, this is what they need. So unless we empathize, we feel, we are not able to understand. So here is the question, here is the idea that we need to empathize their feeling and then understand their issues and then design the product. The next step is define. So after collecting all the information by observing and listening to the users, next step is to define the problem which need to be solved. So the main objective is to craft a problem statement which should be meaningful and actionable. So the core of the good problem statement is can be defined and understood, and who the users, who the specific need, and gather all the information and then understand this is the problem exactly, it is there, and we are going to solve it in the next step. The next step is a very important step. This is where solutions are coming up. This step is called ideate. So after defining a clear problem statement, the next step is an ideation process. The objective of this step is to make a shift from identifying problems to creating solutions for the customers. This is the stage where creativity comes into play and where both individual and design team members are important. Contribution is important from all of them because solution can come from anywhere. And creativity of individual creativity and group creativities are very important to help them to find out solutions. There are a wide range of ideas can be there, and even the strange ideas can be which can give very good solution. And later on, once we have a pool of solution, we are going to select some of them, some of the best possible solution. And then we are going to go to the next step, that is called prototype stage. This is a step where ideas are coming into reality. So in this prototyping, it is important, the building of the prototypes, build a lot of insight and learn them from the implementation. And it need not be a complete working prototype. It could be a simulation, it could be a model, it could be, but ideally it should be a physical working prototype, where the idea is that the users can interact with the product. While interacting, you can understand how they're interacting, what are the problems there in this. And it is important to test also in the prototype, and that's what the last stage is about. When we make the prototype, we test it. So in this, we test the prototype to gain the understanding of the user. Feedback is important, and feedback can be given only when we have something to show, something as a prototype. So in this case, testing, it is a testing with the real context of the user. It is also recommended to prototype as if you know you are right and test it as if you are wrong, because testing is a great way of redefining solution and making them better. The next model which we are going to discuss today is called the design thinking evaluation 6 square model. So in this, the design thinking 6 square model is what developed by Kitze between 2012 and 2015. So you can see it's quite a new model. The evaluation of 6 square was chosen as following: evaluation because creativity is an evaluating process, iterative and interactive, and the graphic design show which is there in the right side of it, you can show it is evolving. So emergence, empathy, experimentation, elaboration, exposition, extension. So this is what this model, core belief of this model is all about. And this is the phase in this is because the different phase of the process, moments of divergence, exploration, and convergence. So converge and diverge, converge and diverge. So 6 squared model, this is what we name it, what they have named, what the inventor has named. So at each stage, there are 6 tools, and hence the model is called 36. There are 36 tools in this model. The model was created for any type of business or organization to boost transformation and innovation. The first stage is emergence, represents the identification of a project opportunity and understanding what challenges are there. The proposed tools at this stage include the media research, trend observation, trend metrics, inspiration box, intent statement, and opportunity mind map. So some of this already we have learned, especially for mind map. Then following the empathy phase, the next phase is that allows the user to understand who the user is. And in this stage, we are going to include tools like a stakeholder map, field observation, interview, personas, user journey map, and insight map. So user journey map already we have used, and that we have seen, or you're going to see in another exercise. The next step is experimentation. In experimentation phase, the ideas are generated, the best one are separated, and concepts are developed. The key activities of this stage are brainwriting, brain sketching, semantic confrontations, analogies, idea cluster, evaluation metrics, and idea hit list. These are the methods which you can use in this stage. Next, we are going to go to the next stage. The next stage is called elaboration stage. In this stage, physical actions on the material and semantic solutions for the selected concepts developed as a previous stage are proposed. Tools that help to elaborate this process include desktop walkthrough, rapid prototyping, role-playing, service blueprint, concept testing, and visual business model. Rapid prototyping using rapid prototyping that we have already discussed in separate course class. So this stage is also important where we see the physical form. Following this stage is the exposition stage where we highlight the importance of the proper communication of a new concept and solutions. Here the tools used are storyboarding, concept visualization, solution prototypes, vision statement, or storytelling, and presentation support. So these are tools for this stage. Next is the stage extension, where observation, implementation, improvisation, and further development of the previous stage takes place. There are certain tools for this suitable for this phase. These tools are implementation map, action plan or roadmap, expertise matrix, questionnaire, or feedback map. And also working with this model can be done with supporting tools like Mindshake design, thinking cards, and printable templates. These cards look like playing cards, and they consist of 78 cards, and which forms a toolkit which directs a creative process based on the evaluation of 6-square method. So these cards can be used in various ways. Cards can be arranged carefully or shuffled randomly. It could be scattered around also. It could be pinned and can be used in pairs. Can be used in teams looking for chaos suitables. There are various ways you can use these cards. The third method which we are going to discuss today is the double diamond method. This is also a quite useful method. The double diamond method has been developed by the charity organization Design Council that focuses mostly on using design as a strategic tool to deal with major social challenges. The double diamond represents a social map which consists of a design process which divides into 4 phases: discover, define, develop, and deliver. So you can see this model down in this image where we discover. So we discover means basically we diverge, explore, and then define, we basically converge. We define to a certain problem. And so here we getting design brief or problem definition. And then again we are going to develop potential solution. Again, for potential solution means we're going to diverge, a lot of solutions we are going to create. And then we're going to find out a suitable solution. And then after finding out, we're going to deliver. That's what deliver is, with converging. So ultimately we are getting a converging solution. So from problem to problem definition, we are going to discover, define, and then develop, deliver. So ultimately, it is called double diamond method. So in this diamond method, it is a combination of divergent and convergent thinking for different stages of creative process. The graphical representation of these two processes are in the shape of in the process of diamond, which are named by this one. So double diamond method shows that during the creative process, convergent thinking and divergent thinking are both important. So convergent thinking is necessary for two purposes. First, to confirm the problem definition, and secondly, to define the problem. And likewise, creative process is iterative nature, and this is ideas are developed, and there are various ways in which we can generate and think about ideas. So in order to come up with innovative solution, double diamond process method proposes 4 phases that helped designers to simulate and create creative process. The first phase is called discover, and it covers the start of the project. So in this, designers try to look at the world from a new perspective, pay more attention to new things. Next is define. They carefully critically define and examine all the possible and insight and discover. So in this stage, we analyze and understand the collection information is done. Aspects like what matters the most and what is more feasible and what look like, and the ideas, the prioritizing. The goal is to develop a creative brief and the problem fundamentally. The next step of this one, as already discussed, is the develop phase, in which it consists of extensive elaboration of the selective ideas, concept created, prototype tested, and iterated. So at this stage, design team face with errors, with experimentation, clarification is done, and series of iteration and action. When develop phase is completed, we are going to go to deliver phase. So in deliver phase is basically, again, as I told, is converging phase, where the whole process is summed up, and designers are supposed to come up with a resulting project, and this stage presumes with the final concept and will be finalized and produced and launched. So now we are going to learn about the 4th method. It is IDEO's 3 I's design thinking model. So in 2001, IDEO came up with the design thinking model that allows to shape the creative process in 3 phases: inspiration, ideation, and implementation. First is inspiration. Inspiration is basically diverging. So it is diverging, and ideation, we are going to get more idea. So a little bit of converging, and again we are diverging. And then implementation. Implementation is where we are going to implement the solution, which means that again it is converging. So first phase of this is inspiration phase. It's dedicated to to frame the design challenge, to create a project plan, to build a team, and to recruit necessary, implement tools, and collect the data through different tools and techniques. The techniques or tools might vary depending upon the objective of the project. The ideation phase is dedicated to analyze the collected data, to identify the opportunities for possible solutions, and to build rough prototypes based on selective ideas. In this phase, the design team tries to narrow down approach towards all the collected information through the loop of iteration. The process of refining and building is repeated until the final solution is ready for delivering to the market. There are various tools that are there which are used in this stage, like brainstorming for filling the insight, framework creation for strategy development and for setting most promising ideas, rapid prototyping and business models canvases for collecting feedback and iteration. After all the groundworks comes the implementation phase that allows the design team to take their solutions to the market. This phase includes all types of practical testing and application of final ideas, like running the live prototypes for some time out in the real world, road mapping the business strategy, what may help to keep up time running, building partnerships, pitching the ideas to possible investors or customers, and finally monitoring and evaluating the feedback. This figure down, as you can see, that here the figure shows example of how implement the lean startup methodology using IDEO's 3I model. So first is here we understand, observe, POV, ideate, prototype, test, storytelling, pilot, and then business model. So first 3 phases we can say it is inspiration, middle 3 phases we can say ideation, and last 3 phases we can say implementation. Now we are going to go to the fifth model. Fifth model is developed by IBM. It is called IBM Design Thinking Model. So it is one of the recently published design thinking model. In 2013, IBM started a project to create a design thinking or design driven culture. The project took more than 3 years, involving about more than 750 designers and affecting over 10,000 employees in the company. The project aimed to build a design process that ensures a clear understanding of the customer need and to build empathy. The new model was placed to be remade with the speed and scalability to meet the demand of modern companies. While the previous models were more biased towards small and medium scale industries, that is SMEs, IBM model target a larger scale of companies, including large entrepreneurships like IBM, Google, Samsung, etc. So the IBM design thinking model consists of 3 stages: observe, reflect, and make. So these stages are in the form of loop. The first stage is observe. In this, designers focuses on observing the building a better understanding of the problem. The second stage is reflect. The designers analyze the knowledge for the adaptation into the project plan. The last stage is make, reflect the creation of the product prototypes and delivering it to the customer and end user. So in this model, IBM assumes that there is no final product. All the so-called final products or prototypes can be improved according to the eternal flow of the loop. So in the right side of this slide, you can see the loop. First is observe, next is reflect, third one is make. So the model is based on 3 main principles representing the figure: focus on the user outcome, multidisciplinary team, and maintaining a restless invention. So the customer end user is represented by the yellow dot in the loop diagram as a customer or user-centric process. The green dot refer to the multidisciplinary teams from different department involving in the design process, and the restless invention Reimmersion refers to the iterative nature of the process. The process assumes that nothing is perfect and every product is a measure of iteration and development. So that to ensure the scalability of the design process, the IBM model organizes how the process is to run among different teams through three main keys. One is hills, second one is playbacks, and third one is sponsor users. The hill refer to the project goals, the playback refer to putting the stakeholders on the same page and ensuring the different teams are adapted with the project progress through multiple meetings, and the sponsored user makes sure the involvement of the end user in the heart of the process through testing and feedbacks. The model was designed to fit in different types of companies, including very large organizations like IBM, Google, and various other organizations, and it is considered as a unique advantage over other design thinking models. So, however, the model is still new and doesn't have enough feedback from companies who adapt it in their process. However, it looks interesting model. Even one can think of adapting it here also in bigger companies. Now we are going to learn another method. The sixth one is ZURB, 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 design thinking model. So ZURB, the design thinking model, is one of the interesting models that shares the similarity with the Stanford model. However, it leaned towards considering important stages such as building the final product and getting feedback. This model includes 5 stages: define ideas, prototype, build, and analyze. So last 2 stages represent creation of the final product and analyzes the market impact and effort of the end user feedback on the final design progress. So first is define, next is ideate, third one is prototype, fourth one is build, and last one is analyze. So in this case, if you see, first is design strategy, that is called under defining, then interaction design is the ideate and prototype, then build and analyze. So basically, it is a iterative cycle which is also there. So this model has 2 types of iteration cycle. One is design iteration and product reset, pivot. The former includes the iteration between stages, ideate, prototype, build, and analyze. So if something wrong happens, the team can iterate the 4 stages to compile it, so it can go back and again 4th problems, remove them, and improve the product. The second iterative process is a hard reset. If there is a major failure in the product and doesn't feel the product doesn't meet the requirements, then what is going to happen? That time the product resets and returns directly to the ideate stage to repeat the process from the scratch and define the problem again. Now we are going to learn about design thinking tools. So selecting the right tools is undoubtedly important for effective decision making and communicating to a multidisciplinary team. The tool can be tangible or intangible. They can be physical, such as pencil, paper, drawing board, or software tools with rich visuals that are supposed to support the process of design thinking. The tools are used to help teams in adopting a new perspective on design task, to visualize the system's complexity and, depending on the design stage, reflect a converging or diverging view of design. So first one is Immersion, in first one we see immersion. Here is a first tool that is used in the process of design thinking. As soon as the designer began to think about a problem which need to be solved, or a revolutionary idea, immersion begins at that time. So in immersion, people are going to emerge. Basically, you think of that designer is going to emerge in the problem. So emerging as a sub-step, that is simulation, a day in the life of the problem to understand the need. So here we are going to understand a user from the perspective of the designer, but from trying to understand and simulate what is the entire life, how the entire day of is going for the user. Then it's called next is research. After simulation, exploratory research related to the context surrounding the problem begins. Again, it could be multifaceted depending on the data that to be collected and used. Next is brainstorming. Brainstorming, this tool is more critical when it comes to elaborative brainstorming sessions with the team, stakeholders or prospective innovators and product managers. Next is overshadowing. After the three phases of ideation, overshadowing commences. This tool is used to monitor the client interaction with the product over a considerable period and understand preferences and dislikes. So design thinking tools available in the market can be used for understanding immersion, such as Session Lab, Stormboard, Idea Flip, Snaply, User Forge, and Make My Persona. Next is visualization. So in visualization is about using images. It's not about drawing, it is about visual thinking. You think visually. So visual thinking helps designers to imagine specific product that is suitable to the need of the end users. It pushes designers far from using words or language alone. It is a way of unlocking a different parts of the brain that allows them to think non-verbally. An example, to manufacture a table, one has to think of a platform that is raised above the ground and can be used to place things over it. However, visualization cannot be open-ended, which means that unless designers make drawings of the tables you want to sell in the product, send in the market, the entire term, they will not be able to understand. So here visualization is not about just thinking. You have to actually make your team, you have to help your team to visualize the way you are thinking, right? So these tools are available in for visualizations are Miro, Concept Board, Google Jamboard, Mural, and Shape. The third is journey mapping. In journey mapping or the experience mapping, it is an ethnographic research method that focuses on tracing the customer's journey as he interacts with an organization while the process of receiving a service or giving special attention to his emotional heights and lows. So journey mapping is used with the aim of identifying those needs of customers which they are usually unable to articulate. Designers usually do the journey mapping by laying over a hypothetical view of how a certain customer group's journey look like. So later they conduct pilot interviews with a small number of customers in order to ensure that they are the right track. So basically you understand and feel what the journey of a person is with respect to the product. After obtaining the two themes for the interviews, designers can compare with the findings that they got in previous step. The famous online tools available for customer journey mapping are UX Persia, Lucid Chart, Microsoft Visio, Gylfi, Customers, and OmniGrapher. Next is value chain analysis. So value chain analysis is the business side equivalent of customer journey mapping. It is a tool used for evaluating each and every activity in a company's value chain to understand where are the opportunities for improvement lies. By conducting value chain analysis, managers can know which step can increase or decrease the value of the final product or services. This gives managers or designers some form of advantage like reduction in the cost or increasing time in R&D of the product. Value chain analysis examines how an organization interact with value chain partners to produce, market, and distribute new offerings. So here, basically, you understand how the value of the product will be in the market. Analysis of the value chain offers to create better value for the customers along with the chain and uncovers important clues about partners' capability and intentions. It begins by working backward from the value creation for the ultimate end user and then adding the capabilities and bargaining power of other key stakeholders. The next one is mind mapping. Mind mapping is used to represent how ideas and other items are linked to a central idea. The mind mapping are used to generate, visualize, structure, and classify idea by looking for patterns and insights that provide key design criteria. We have learned already mind mapping in a more detailed exercise, way. It is, and designers also do this by creating posters consisting of key themes, and then these we use mind mapping to visualize. So there are various tools for mind mapping. Some of the tools are Mario, Smart Draw, Microsoft Visio, and others. Lucid Chart. The next is rapid concept development or iteration. So rapid concept development helps design thinkers in generating hypotheses about innovative product opportunities. In today's fast-paced world, where competition is tighter than ever, it has become extremely important or essential for the organization to adapt quick with ever-changing customers' need. In this tough scenario where coordination between people and object from the real world cannot be replicated in office spaces, a quick iteration design tool process work best. So therefore, designers should test their designs quickly in the real world, improve them upon. So this is one of the very important method where you can actually make the concept very fast and see the feedback. So and this keeps on the market open for innovation. So if organizations spend too much time solving small logistic problems, the entire chain will be affected. So here rapid iteration is required and make it very fast. Next is assumption testing. In assumption testing, it is basically assumption technique focuses on identifying assumptions and identifying the appeal of a new business idea and using available data to assess the likelihood that assumptions will be turned out to be true. These assumptions are then tested through experiments followed by field experiments. Once designers are identifying these assumptions and then most critical to the potential attractiveness of the new products, and they conduct the find out the assumptions. So identity testing is very important because maybe as you assume a lot of assumptions as the designers, right? So which is important to test whether this assumption is right or wrong. Then we need to do something different than what you're doing. That is what is important here. So further, this short and needed data in one of the three categories: what they know, what they don't know and cannot know, and what they don't know but should know. The third category is basically representation of the creation of the thoughts of the experiments. Lastly, designers identify what it would take to get the data quickly, then design through experiment by paying special attention to the data, and that could play them wrong. Next is rapid prototyping. This we have extensively discussed in different set of slides. So rapid prototyping techniques is going to help in converging the abstract ideas into tangible. So here designers can make very fast product using rapid prototyping. So design in using CAD, convert to HTML file, and make a working product. So these include storyboarding, user scenario, experience designers, business concept. So in rapid prototyping, not just only making a physical model, it is also about making some scenarios, making some journeys, storyboarding very fast to prototype, right? And prototyping is all about minimizing the I and return of investment. The cost of simple 2D prototypes can be as low as pen and some paper. So here, business concept prototypes generally take visual narrative forms, images, and stories. They can even take role playing and skirts. As a design thinking tool, prototyping can become quite painful for designers who are cloaked in sweat and tears. So these are the techniques, these methods, some of the techniques, or some other way for rapid prototyping is going to help designers to see the design process and see the prototype faster. Some of the techniques which are available is boards, Mockingbird, Pop, App, PowerPoint, Keynote, Lumen 5, and Prototype IO. So now we are going to go to the ninth one. Ninth one is the learning launches. So once the prototype is approved, it goes to the final end customer. So learning launches is a tool where test product is launched in the market for a quick experiment. In contrast to a new product launch, the test is conducted slowly for gathering data. As a design thinking tool, learning launches can be difficult to navigate through because liking the product doesn't mean that it will get purchased. So learning launches are designed to test the key underlying value gathering assumptions of a potential new growth initiative in the marketplace. In the context to a new product rollout, a learning launch is a learning experiment conducted quickly and inexpensively to gather market-driven data. The most critical aspect of this tool is that unlike traditional analysis and case studies that happen over a long period, this approach works for shorter periods. The 10th one is collaborative creation or co-creation. So this is again very important for especially for bigger companies and multiple people involved in multiple places. So collaborative creation incorporates techniques that allows managers to engage a customer while in the process of generating and developing new business ideas of mutual interest. In conventional technique like Six Sigma, NPD, team takes their product, which is having all the features in the market, and also take the detailed feedback, which no doubt takes significant amount of time. But in the case of design thinking, the approach is different. Here, the incomplete product is taken to the customer, and then the feedback is taken from them. So in this case, it leaving the part of the concept incorporated is a way to elicit the customer's creativity and competence, see what they feel and what their responses are. This makes intuition work in a good way to engage a buyer's creativity and intellect. And offering multiple prototypes can make this product process even better for zeroing in your final product. Some tools are Excel, W, and other tools are also available. 11th one is storytelling or art of selling. Storytelling has been used in every craft and art practice, including business, and it is becoming a primary production tool. As a part of design thinking, this tool is not used properly, and if it is not used properly, it can result in returning that phase 1, the immersion. After all, without convincing the customer to buy the product, this is where the whole team of the professional advertisement and marketing come in picture. So here we have to tell the customers and tell the story in the right way. Then only the customer is going to give feedback or they're going to buy it, right? So here we need to also understand what to do while we are doing this exercise. The story narrates about revealing a problem. So using metaphors, analogies, and data to be driven home your product and key services of nailing the art of selling. So if you see any successful product, life cycle product or services, notice that how it was introduced in the market made all the differences in bringing about sales and staying in the mind of the customer forever. So in the conclusion, we can say that design thinking with all these tools is an effective precisely because you understand the need of the customers and create tailor-made solutions for them. If used correctly, it can change the fate of any organization. It is not just about profits and products. Design thinking can be used in any industry to bring about desired results. Thousands of NGOs and NPOs across the world are using design thinking tools for identifying places and problems that need attention. Various academic organizations are adopting design thinking in their curriculum. From providing clean in-house toilets, potable drinking water, to cooking, gas supplies, and maintaining in mountain areas, design thinking is changing the world gradually. Thank you.